Yeah, Niner fam. As you know, it's Saturday night. Niners! I recommended a while back. You got to wake up and do that more. Now, if you're married like I am, look out because wifey will start swinging at you. But I'm telling you right now, it clears out all 8 sinus cavities and makes your day 49 ready to go. Tonight we have our GM candidates, as you know. I've been telling you about it. They told you about it earlier. Michael is on one end, Teran is on the other. You got Mikey out of Texas, you got Teran, faithful out of Las Vegas. They are going to go head to head here. You're going to make the judgment as to which presentation you like the best. You give the guys a thumbs up, the thumbs down. You'll see all that inside the app as they are ready to go. Oh, by the way, as soon as each one respectively finishes up his presentation, you can then hit him with the questions. Pretend as if you are the most hardcore press in the world. It's okay. If you get too far out of line, I'm not going to ask him your question anyway. But if you got a good question, I will pass it along. All right, Teran, are you ready?
I am Ronbo for sure.
I can tell, man. I'll tell you what, Teran, you take it away, man. You are up.
Alrighty, so what's up, Niner fam? How you guys doing today? First of all, I want to say we have start off with 10 draft picks, and we're at number 2 overall, obviously, like you guys know. But what I'm going to do is we're going to take Leonard Fournette, but
Oh,
Carolina calls and says, you know what? I really want that running back because I'm scared Jacksonville or the Jets might take him ahead of us. So what they're going to do is they're going to offer us number 8 overall, and number 64 overall was the last pick in the second round and the fourth round for 2018. So that's how we're going to get down in the first round. So we're going to have our first pick, number 8 overall, and our 2 seconds.
all right.
That's how we're going to start.
All right.
So with the 8th overall pick, it was a tough one because it's a kind of a hard spot. Number 2,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We lost
we
Teran for a
have
second.
Reuben Foster sitting there,
All
and
right.
we have Solomon Thomas sitting there.
All right.
So what?
Go ahead, Teran. We still you're fine. We got a little freeze on you, but we still got audio. Continue.
Foster.
Uh,
Okay. The 49ers select Reuben Foster, linebacker from Alabama, with the 8th overall pick.
all right. All right.
So that's how we're going to get out in the first round. And I
Uh,
feel that pick, even though Mike Williams was tempting, I went Reuben Foster because our linebacking core is kind of thin.
yeah.
We signed Malcolm Smith, but I think with the addition of Reuben Foster, we can plug him to the middle right away, and we can move Navarro over to weak side linebacker.
All right.
So our starting linebacker core could be we can have Ray Armstrong on the strong side.
All right. Little tech stall in there. We'll see. I think it keeps bouncing back and forth. Let's see if it comes back in. Uh, Teran, can you still hear us? All right. Let's see. Ah,
So I think
there he
with
is.
Keith
There he is.
Reeser, Rashard Robinson, and Will Redmond, number 34 overall, I'm going to go Tre'Davious White, cornerback from LSU.
Ah, like
Think
that.
he can step in probably from day one, at least start at nickel, with Tremaine Brock and Rashard Robinson, and eventually take over for Brock. Then our 2 starting corners could be Rashard Robinson, and then we can go Tre'Davious White.
All right. And if we continue, we still got that. All right. Seems like Teran's going to have little pauses here and there. It keeps bouncing back. Let's give him a few more seconds, see when he comes back in. All right. And so far, if you got any
You
questions,
hear
go
me,
ahead.
Rumbo? Did you get the pick?
I think we give me that pick again just to make sure. All
It
right.
was Tre'Davious White, cornerback from LSU.
All right. Tre'Davious White, cornerback from LSU. All right. We got that. All right. See if we can continue. Because what it is, Teran, is your Wi-Fi is blasting you in and out. So I don't know if there's anything you can make any adjustment in that or not. But yeah. All right. All right, Teran. Yeah, Teran's gonna have a little problem with this. what we might have to do, and I'm not sure if there's anything that he can possibly make an adjustment with. Um, we might have to. We may have to. All right. Are we gonna move to Michael? All right, Teran. Teran, see if there's anything else. Sometimes there's just a matter of knocking off everything in the house that's running your Wi-Fi, and see if that'll work to knock things off. Let's see if let's get Teran back. See if we can get him back for a few seconds. We'll only get him for a few seconds at a time. Teran, all right. Teran, if you're watching me now, what you do is try to everything on the house right now that's using the Wi-Fi system. See if you can knock that down, and maybe it'll give you a little more plug-in. All right, let's go to Michael. Michael.
How you doing, Ronbo?
All right, man. All right, Michael. Are you ready? All of a sudden, it's Michael's son, Michael. Are you ready, Mike?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
All right, Michael. You start when you get
So,
ready.
we got the second pick in the first round, and I have the Browns doing a Brown move and drafting Mitch Trubisky, so letting Myles Garrett fall to us in the second pick. And we end up drafting Myles Garrett because he's a freak athlete. Then we have the second round, pick number 34. In 34, we take Brad Kaya, the quarterback out of Miami. Even looking at this now, I can see maybe even moving him down to the third round because I think he'll still be there. But as of now, I see us taking him in the second. In the third round, pick number 66, I see us taking Anthony Walker Jr., inside linebacker out of Northwestern. He's a really underrated guy. He ran the fifth fastest 40 out of all linebackers at the combine. He's got speed and agility. He's really he's a good playmaker.
All right.
Round 4, start to dip into a little more of the offense. We are going to end up drafting Darius Rodgers. He's the guy that was opposite of Juju Smith at USC. And I'd like to see him because he's a bigger guy. He has the physicality to body out defensive backs. And I said, when I look for a wide receiver, I know speed is a lot that plays into it, but I like to see those guys that can be physical. When I look at him, I'm like, can this guy body out Sherman? Is he going to be able to body out Sherman? I'm like, okay.
The standard.
I see Darius can do that. And then with the other fourth round, we got next fourth rounder. I think I stick Ben Boulware. From Clemson.
Yeah.
For me, he is basically white Patrick Willis.
The dude is mean. I love it. All right.
He's got the violence, and he's just a great overall athlete. He makes plays all over the field. Fifth pick, I have us taking Tedrick Thompson, safety out of Colorado. After watching film on this guy, he's probably, I think, 5'10", maybe 6 foot, but he just makes plays in the field. Wherever the ball is, you can find him at the ball. That's where he's going to be at. He might not be I think he ran a 4.5 or 4.6 at the combine, but he is, when I look on film, he's always making plays on the field. So that's what matters to me more than how fast you can run.
All right.
In the other fifth round pick I have Dan Skipper, the offensive tackle from Arkansas. He's 6'9", he's giant. And I know we got a big tackle he can defend against some of those bigger defensive ends. So as much as I hate to say it, Staley's getting kind of old. But you got to look to the future, too, at the same time.
Yeah. Smart.
The sixth round, I take us Jalen Reeves-Maben, outside linebacker from Tennessee. He had a pretty good year this year, but his breakout year was last year. His last year play, I think he ended with 12 sacks in the season or something. He played ridiculously. He flies with the football. He's a great pass rusher. And he's just somebody that he can lay the wood. And we need that we want Russell Wilson scrambling around. I want him to be on the bench with a broken ankle. In the sixth round, after Jalen, I have Kyle Calais from Michigan. in my mind. He's a bigger, stouter guy. He's pretty quick off the ball. You can see that he has a lot of upper body strength. In my mind, if you're good enough to start for John Harbaugh on offensive line, I think we could use it. So that's my and my 7th round pick is Matthew Harris, cornerback out of Northwestern. He's a really quick guy and he's really underrated. I don't think he was even invited to the combine, but he makes plays. He sticks to your receiver. He's really physical off the line of scrimmage, and he's got wheels too.
All right. Here you go. And I tell you what. I've seen a lot of questions about Brad Kaya. What round did you want to get Brad in?
When I first set it up, I said 2nd, but now looking at it, I think we could get him 3rd. Because I think he could fall to the 3rd.
That might be the sentiment from what I could see from the line of comments here. Because it says here, let's see. YMSA says Kaya is not a 2nd rounder, and that's a stretch. And Bolaware. Now, when are you going to get Bolaware?
2nd, 4th round pick.
That's right, because we got 2 4th-round picks. Who was your first 4th-round pick?
Darius Rodgers, the wide receiver out of USC.
All right. Okay, so Ray wants to know when we're going to wide receiver. And that would be your first wide receiver is coming out of the 4th round?
Yeah, but also I'm looking at my alternate to like our first pick and our 2nd pick in the 1st round. That's if Myles Garrett's gone, I have us taking Mike Williams.
All right, there you go. Because the sentiment here seems to be something that Bolaware is going to be an undrafted free agent. Do you see that possibility, or is that probably not going to be?
The only reason I could see it happening is a GM or coaching staff think he's too violent, which I think makes no sense at all.
Okay. I
think if anything, he falls to the 6th round at the latest, but I think he's definitely going to get drafted.
All right. Because Niner Faithful says, Bolaware's another Scooby. Not sure Scooby made it over the last round. I was pulling for him the entire time, and Trent pulled him, and Trent passed him up, and Cleveland picked him up in the last round. So, yeah, that's a bad thing, too. All right. And the Willis comparisons are getting rave reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a little bit more. And then Bolaware. Now, you do think he's ready for the NFL, though?
Yes, for sure.
All right. Jed York says,
he's a great great team leader. He wants that defense to succeed.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right. Tell you what we're going to do now. Seems like the questions here are kind of slimmed down. So pretty much everybody, I guess, agrees along with your, all right. Pretty much everybody agrees with most of your picks, apparently. All right. Let me see. Here's the thing. We lost Teran. Let's see if Teran is still possible. Hold on there, Mike.
All right.
Do we run Teran already? Because what Teran might do is just avoid his audio or his video, just do his audio. Teran, are you there? I think we lost Teran. All right. So let me post you up again here, Michael. Michael, round 1, he's got Myles Garrett. And round 2, Brad Kaya, but he's revised that pick. And in round 3, Anthony Walker Jr. And round 4, Darius Reyes. Is that Reeves? Is that Reyes?
Rodgers,
I'm sorry. And there's Big Ben Bolaware in the 4th round for the 2nd pick in that round. And round 5, is that Tedrick Thompson. And then they'll run. Let's see, round 5. Yep. And Dan Skipper, offensive tackle. Listen, what I always wondered about when you took in footage of these guys, what gave you offensive tackle? Which is, I find that interesting. What is it that actually appealed to you about him?
My appeal for him is on film. First of all, he's a 6'9" offensive tackle. I'm pretty sure that would be one of the biggest offensive tackles in the league if we were to draft him. Mm-hmm. Also, his strength is unbelievable. He pancakes guys on a regular basis because he's so big.
All right.
His only weakness I can see is he handles speed pretty well, but I think against a guy like Myles Garrett, he would struggle a little bit. But I think that's something we have to work on steps, and I think that's something that can be improved really easily.
How many? So you're going to take one offensive lineman. You only picked out one offensive lineman in this, from what I see here. Is that going to be, because we didn't handle that too much in the free agency period, is that going to be pretty much adequate? Or you think we're going to be able to sustain with the offensive line we got now? And they should be a little better. I mean, last year, Josh.
I think with.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think we still have Staley and we got Trent Brown on the outside for right now. I want to see how Trent plays, and I'm not sure. I think he can move and be a guard. He could be a better guard too. Then we got Beatles and Garnett. I don't know who's playing center for us yet. That's the only thing that kind of worries
allegedly
me.
It's going to be Kilgore. But see, this is the thing. That's why everybody said, get Mangold out of New York. And no move on him. So, Marcus Martin has been shipped out. But, of course, we didn't want him to be a center anyway. So, yeah. There you go. Sohel Rad wants to know, why not Kizer or Webb or Mahomes in the second? Your feeling on that?
Why not Kizer or who? Webb?
Just Kizer, Webb, or Mahomes. Mahomes in the second round.
Oh, what I'm hearing is Mahomes is going to be going probably into he's already moved into the first round. I think he's going to be gone by the second round. Yeah. He's getting hyped up really overall. He's getting really hyped up, and I think he's going to move into the first round. I think he'll be there for us. That's what I wanted, but I don't think he's going to be there.
Well, Mahomes would have been your choice had he been available in the second round. You know what? I think you're right, because they're really pumping him up as the golden boy, and there's always two every year, and that's what's to be determined right now, because it seems Trubisky was going to be number one, and Deshaun Watson was going to be the other number one. So it seems, I'm not sure where Watson went. He looked great in the combine, and Trubisky did too. They may continue to be, but like you're saying now, there's also Mahomes, and David Webb is sneaking in. What is your feeling about David Webb?
David Webb, I think he runs a pro style offense, which is always good. So I think it's pro style, it's a spread. I think it's one of those two.
Yeah.
And that's always a good thing to go if you're going into NFL. And then he's pretty okay. I think he has the ability. He makes good reads, but I think his decision making sometimes isn't that great.
What do you think about
that? Just improved with practice.
What do you think about his footwork? I was watching his feet during the combine. I was freaked out.
Yeah, well, but also that's like mechanics. And if you look at league with terrible mechanics and is amazing now with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' mechanics were terrible when he came into the league, and now he's arguably one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history.
Because Jimmy Walker is thinking that David could be caught in the third round. You know what? He's another guy that could sneak into the first round. If you're the New York Jets, are you looking at David Webb because they're too far down? Wait a minute, where are the Jets drafting at? Aren't they around 6 or 7?
Yeah, they're 6 or 7 or something.
This is where the collision is going to take place. Go ahead.
I think what the Browns are going to end up doing, they're going to get Myles Garrett, and since they get him, I think the Jets will end up taking Mitch because I think he's the best quarterback. Even though, for me, there's some hesitant stuff about him, but...
All right. Ellis Thompson says we got 2 big receivers in Garcon and Rodgers. So, would it be advisable to go after John Ross? I kind of disagree with that as far as the size of those guys. So, Garcon. Eric Rodgers, okay.
5'10".
Yeah, Garcon's not actually... Garcon may be 6 foot, and they might be lying about that, but yeah, you're right. But... as far as lengthy receivers, Eric Rodgers. You got any opinion about Eric Rodgers?
Eric Rodgers, when we got him last year, the first thing I did was like, who's this guy? I Googled him on YouTube, and what I see him is he's a taller, he's still kind of skinny guy, but he's got speed is what helps him. He's big and he has speed. I think I want to see him actually play against a NFL corner, because they're more physical, and I want to see if he can body up against. That's my determination for all receivers. If you can body up a guy, if you're not fast enough, if you're like Ross or Brandon Cooks, and you're not running by him, you have to be able to body them up.
All right. Now, Teran's back. Now, Ian French had a question. Let me see if I can find that again. Ian French wants to know, why draft a safety if Ward is moving over?
Because you don't know what's going to happen to what's his name, Eric. Eric could go in second game of the year and like break his ankle and tear every ligament in his like foot and be out for the rest of the season because he is. I love him to death. He's a great guy, but I think he's starting to come. I'm playing too cautious, and that's what ends up getting him hurt.
Good point, because I noticed Eric Reed last year pulling up on plays, and we didn't see him doing that in his rookie year. So yeah. Now Niner Faithful 52 says no tight end or defensive lineman.
D lineman, I don't think we really. If we get because we're playing on our 4-3, so we're gonna have DeForest. If we get Garrett, then if he's not there, then I have Jalen Reeves is outside. I have a feeling the 4-3 we're gonna run is gonna have outside backers roll down.
Yeah.
Because that's how Seattle ran it when Robert Sahil, whatever his name was up there.
And it's going to be about speed.
So I think outside linebackers, like Eli Harold, Aaron Lynch, I think those guys are going to play a part in that kind of role.
Which is hilarious. Can you imagine? All of a sudden, Eli Harold has value. And I tell you something else, too. Even Tank Carradine could have value now. This is where that big monster rolling downhill from sideline to sideline could be interesting because this is his element. So we'll see about that.
But I also like, because I think Ronald Blair, the kid we got last year, I think he's going to be, if we plug him into that, I think he's a stellar guy. I think he can make plays.
Could rise above most of the guys on that line. He's a guy who needs 6 inches of daylight, and he's all over that quarterback. If he could just get that little bit of room, he slides through the smallest of cracks. All right. Let's take Teran. Teran, let's get back to Teran. Teran,
yeah, I'm here.
All right. Teran, you made some adjustments? You've been gone for a while. You okay?
No, yeah. Well, I don't know. We had like a big old gust of wind, and then it messed up my whole Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's what it was. All right. Tell you what. All right, Teran. See if you can finish up then. Go right ahead, man.
Yeah, no problem. Where did I leave off? Because it was pausing for me.
Tell you what. Let's get you just started.
Right. Darius White.
Okay.
Michael.
Okay, that's where it was. Too. Okay. So you guys heard the trade. You guys heard the trade and everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so number 8 overall was Reuben Foster.
All right.
Number 34 was Tre'Davious White, corner. And like I was saying, I think we can, he can probably be a day one starter. And the fact that we haven't cut Tremaine Brockett is probably saying something because maybe they see something that maybe he'd be pretty effective if we had a better pass rush. You know what I mean?
Yes, indeed I do.
So with Tre'Davious White, Rashard Robinson, Will Redmond, Tremaine Brock, Keith Reeser, Dante Johnson, give us some depth at corner. Plus, we signed that K'Wan Williams. So,
yeah,
it's been a while since Niners had a shutdown corner. So, I think getting somebody like him would be real good for us.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So now we have 2 second-round picks with that trade from Carolina because they acquired a second from that New England trade for giving them Coney Ealy.
Yeah.
So now we have 2 seconds for that trade. And I'm going with a guy that's kind of a project, but, he runs a 4-3-1 and with Tyreek Hill emerging and with the smaller receivers kind of doing something now. Like, everybody's kind of complaining like, oh, Marquise Goodwin, Aldrick Robinson, they're small, but those are the guys that are shifty, fast, and run good routes. And, they're hard to catch up with when they're running. You know what I mean?
That's right. Look at Tom Brady. He's made a living off of Amendola and Edelman.
Exactly. Brandon Cooks is another one, But this guy here, you can plug him in. You can run him out of the backfield, play a receiver for us, and that's Curtis Samuel, wide receiver from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I really like that guy. He ran a 4.31 at the combine. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. I mean, he can learn behind Pierre Garçon, Jeremy Curley, get better crisp route running. And he can be a dangerous weapon.
All right.
So then, third round, I kind of came in when I heard Matt talking. Is that his name? And I kind of agree with the D line because I think running a 4-3, people got to remember Ronald Blair, Eli Harold, Aaron Lynch, all them were drafted with their hand on the ground. They were all 4-3 guys playing defensive end, all of them.
All right.
So I think with them, being a value, I think now we have to go back to getting a linebacker to add some depth. And my linebacker in the third round, number 66 overall, is Tyus Bowser, outside linebacker from Houston.
All right.
He's a big linebacker, 6'3", 240, runs a 4.5, and he can line up over there with Ray Armstrong. give us some depth, and maybe 2018 he could be a starter for us.
All right. Like
Okay.
that as well.
Then fourth round, I have number 109 overall, Trey Hendrickson, defensive end from Florida Atlantic. This guy's been rising up draft boards. He's a monster. He's another defensive end, just in case one of them gets cut or hurt. It adds more depth to our D line. But I really am hopeful. I don't know. I just have a good feeling that our defensive line with Buckner and Armstead maybe playing inside, and then like he said, Ronald Blair's going to be the sleeper, 6'3", 270. You get him on defensive end with maybe an Aaron Lynch with his hand in the ground, Tank Carradine. We're going to be. I think people are sleeping on that defensive line. Yeah,
but they won't
and then
be.
our second. Go ahead.
But they won't be. I can't wait to see that line get loose.
Yeah, I know. And then for our second, fourth round pick, number 143 overall, I'm gonna go Isaac Asiata, offensive lineman from Utah. 6'3", about 330, plays guard and center. So, you like them versatile linemen that can move among the line. He can play 3 out of the 5 spots. We know Zane Beatles. I don't know I heard something about him maybe even going to center and playing some center, but we'll see. But this guy plays three spots on the line, so you always want that versatility. He's actually the cousin of Matt Asiata in Minnesota. Yeah. And then fifth round, I'm going safety. Lorenzo James out of D2 school, St. Francis out of Pennsylvania. Watched the Senior Bowl on this kid, and he has instincts. I mean, that's stuff you can't teach. Not the biggest guy. He's 5'10", about 195. Plays free safety. He's a pretty good tackler. He'd be a great special teamer. But like my man was saying, we have our safety position. There's some injury history there. Jimmy Ward's been hurt. He gets hurt pretty often. Eric Reed, concussion issues. So, we got to have some depth at safety, even though we got that guy from the Texans, but he's more of a special team guy. But, I think with John Lynch being there, him being a, future Hall of Famer at that position, he's going to get some guys in where he feels he can mold. So, and then with our fifth round pick, I'm going to take a flyer on this guy just because I know the press conference yesterday, Kyle Shanahan said he wants guys with character. He wants guys that are kind of clean off the field. But with the fifth round pick, with somebody I believe has third round talent, I believe he takes Chad Kelly, QB out of Ole Miss. I think if he's there, he has a huge arm, probably second, third best arm in this draft. He can make all the throws. Maybe if he gets behind, Brian Hoyer and Matt Barkley, he can get some leadership, people that can kind of keep him out of trouble, get his nose clean. We have a front office now that, got a good head on their shoulders, so maybe they can keep him out of some trouble. So,
such a big problem. Because there's going to be guys that are going to miss the draft this year because of that. I mean, and in fact, there's a couple of questions that I'll get to you. We'll wait till you finish. Oh, are you finished?
Okay, no problem. No, we got 3 more picks. Right. We have 11 now with that trade.
All right.
And then with the sixth round, we have 2 picks. First one, number 186, I'm going to go Elijah McGuire, running back out of Louisiana Lafayette.
I was waiting for a running back. All right.
Yeah, he's kind of like with Curtis Samuel coming, he can play out of the backfield too, but we need more of a true running back. And with Kyle Juszczyk and Carlos Hyde, we got power right there. Them guys will run you over, both being, 230, 240 guys or whatever. But this guy, Elijah McGuire, he's kind of, if I had to pick somebody, maybe like a bigger Darren Sproles. Of course, he's not as fast and quick, but he's a great receiver out of the backfield. I believe 12 touchdowns receiving in the last 2 years. Good hand-eye coordination, kind of a do-it-all running back. Could be like a gadget guy. You can, come out of the backfield, catch balls, put them in the slot. Somebody you can work with. Number 202 overall in the 6th round, I'm going Tyler Catalina, offensive tackle from Georgia, just to add some more depth to the offensive line. And actually, he played 2 years ago with John Theus that we drafted. So, a little chemistry there. In 7th round, you always want to take somebody who you feel like is good and, maybe it could be good 2 or 3 years down the road. And that's Jerome Lane, wide receiver from Akron. And that's another big receiver, 6'3", 220, dominated the MAC. So hopefully he can come in and do something for us. So, and that's my mock draft.
All right. Let me push them babies up on the screen right quick and go over them again. First round, number 8, Reuben Foster. Running inside linebacker from Alabama. Second round, number 34, Trey Davius. Yeah, I think some of these
Trey
guys
Davius, yep. Trey Davius White.
Yeah, I think some of these guys make up these names themselves. Their parents didn't call them that. He's that cornerback out of Louisiana, second round, number 64, Curtis Samuel, wide receiver, Ohio State. Now, he'll be acquired number 8 overall and the number 64 in 2017. Also a fourth-round pick in 2018 from Carolina. Carolina jumps to 12 overall to get Leonard.
2 overall.
I'm sorry. That's okay. I was reading the hash marks as a 1. 2 overall to get Leonard Fournette. And the third round, it's Tyus Bowser, outside linebacker from Houston. Fourth round, Trey Hendrickson, defensive end, Florida Atlantic. Also, fourth round, Isaac Asiata, outside linebacker from Utah. Fifth round, Lorenzo Jerome, safety, St. Francis. And also fifth round, Chad Kelly, quarterback, Ole Miss. We just got to make sure that Chad's sober on that day they go out to Pro Day. Also, sixth round, Elijah McGuire, running back, Louisiana. And then the sixth round, Tyler Catalina, offensive tackle from Georgia. Seventh round, it's Jerome Lane, wide receiver from Akron. All right. Nice choices, guys. This team could get all these guys. It would be nice, all right? And Travis Millat wants to know, do we need another running back since we got Juice? That's a good question. Do we need another running back since we've got Juice? I don't think he'll be blocking a lot with his salary.
Oh, yeah, true.
And Juice is getting paid. Both you guys can handle that question, but let's go to Teran first with that question. Go ahead, Teran.
Yes, I say we do. I mean, Mike Davis hasn't showed anything this couple years he's been there. Whew, he shows he's more of a, inside the tackles guy. He's not a guy that catches out of the backfield. And we know Kyle Shanahan likes those kind of running backs, guys that can come out, catch the ball. I mean, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman are perfect examples of running backs he likes. And Carlos Hyde has an injury history. He gets hurt sometimes, and we need a good, reliable back behind him. So I think if we get in there with Juszczyk, Hyde as our main 2 guys, and then we have a good scat back, like a Darren Sproles, the Devontae Freeman type running back. So yeah, I do think we need another running back.
Michael, how do you feel about that?
I think everybody's sleeping on Drawn.
Is that right? You're going to hold on to Sean, then.
He is that kind of. He's that more. Yeah, I think because he's more that quick, like speedy guy. He's not the big kind of boulder like Carlos is, and he can. And we used him most of last year for out of the backfield passes, and I think he's going to actually thrive really well in Shanahan's system.
Something to think about there. Let me get another question, and we were talking about Mixon. Sohel Rad wants to know, question, would you take a risk on Mixon in the third round? You guys, Teran, let's go back to you on that one. Is Joe going to last until the third round? I think people are saying lots of bad things about Joe, and deservedly so. But when it comes down to
I agree, and I believe everybody deserves a second chance. I mean, he made a huge mistake. He was an 18-year-old kid. I mean, he learned from it, hopefully. But I think your first 3 rounds, I think day 1 and day 2 of the draft, you look at people with higher character issues. I think you take a chance on somebody like that day 3, because usually day 3, rounds 5 through 7, for the most part, don't make your team. But, I mean, he's talented. He's first-round talent. But I think first 3 rounds, I would say no. I mean, if you're going to get a running back in the first 3 rounds, I would go, second round, you got Alvin Kamara, and there's some good ones. There's Marlon Mack in the third round. I mean, I would stay away from him just because for that reason. But, I mean, it's hard to say because I have daughters and stuff, too. So, somebody punches my daughter. I kind of look down on that. But at the same time, he does deserve a second chance. But first 3 rounds, no, I would not. Yeah,
because there's Delvin Cook and some other guys available, too.
Exactly.
Michael, your feeling on that, I mean, is this something that, you're bringing this guy into your team? Could that be a PR nightmare? As, women going to be out in front of the stadium with signs and screaming and yelling? What are you going to do about that?
I don't think, if you look at the situation he was in, first of all, he's 18, 19-year-old kid,
Sure.
And he's so successful as an athlete. So anything he could do is blown, even if what he did was wrong, I will admit that, is blown also way out of proportion.
Yeah.
But if you look into his history, he has no other anything, no charges. He's had no off the field problems other than this one scenario. And even after this, his girlfriend at the time came out and said, "I'm kind of the one that started this whole thing." It was he's usually a calm, level-headed kid, and he's an athletic freak. He's got wheels, and if you could watch his film on him, he's patient. He's like Le'Veon Bell. He'll stop and he analyzes the situation, but he's not like really moving.
I agree. I've watched him. I can play some ball. No doubt about that. And I got to tell you something, guys. With the general manager we have, I think that John can actually romance the city of San Francisco to say, listen, we're going to get this kid in here. If anything, we're going to make him a better citizen. And if you'll trust me on this, we're going to give you a good football player, and we're going to do this kid some good and society as well. If he has any problems from this day on, we're going to see if we can correct him. It's the best way to do it. We're going to embrace him. We're going to fix him up and make him better. And that's the kind of thing you got to approach the fan base in a way where you don't want people protesting, but at the same time realizing we're going to enhance our team. I got to tell you guys, for me, I would take Mixon in the first round if I had the right kind of conversation from him. If I could get another pick, this kid is going to make the 1-2 punch of Carlos Hyde, which just be awesome. That means the passing game works. Everything works now. God, but we'll see. All right, let's get that next question. Jordan Perrin says, should we? We already did that one. YMSA draft Williams. He's what we need. A guy not defined by speed but size and strength. A tank wide receiver. You guys avoided Williams. Was there a reason for that? Go ahead, Teran.
No, it wasn't a reason for it. It's just because, having the 8th overall pick from my trade, I looked at him as a possibility, but then I look at, our defense because we signed, like I said, Garcon, Aldrick Robinson, re-signed Curley. So to me, yeah, I understand we need a big number one wide receiver, but I think linebacker was more of a need for us. And I honestly think Reuben Foster is a better prospect than Mike Williams. I think he's a 10-year guy, 10 to 12-year guy with probably 7 to 8 Pro Bowls. That's the reason why I took Reuben Foster over Mike Williams.
Solid answer, too. That's a really solid answer. Mike, what are you thinking about that comparison, man? I mean, well, you didn't necessarily make that comparison, but Mike Williams is going to go, by the way. Did you pick up Corey Davis, or what did you do? I got to go back to because your notes.
I have Mike Williams as our alternate if Myles Garrett is gone. I have him as our first pick in the draft if Myles Garrett is gone.
You had him number 1 if Myles Garrett is gone. I got to tell you right now, you're right.
The only reason I said
go ahead.
This is I could looked at both films. Corey Davis he's going to be a stud athlete. Yeah. The only reason I chose Mike Williams is who have both of them been competing against. Corey's been competing about Division II, maybe some Division I college.
Yeah, that's.
And you compete against some of the best talent in the league. He had a great performance against notably one of the best college defenses in the national championship against Alabama.
Sure.
So he just he's been playing against better talent.
Yeah, because they got a couple of great corners playing in Alabama. All right.
And also when you think about wide receivers, I know there's a lot of guys that think like, oh, speed's the way to go. But when you think of a team and you think of a wide receiver, like, oh, the wide receiving core for the Cardinals, who do you think of? You don't think of John Brown and those guys. You think of Larry Fitzgerald, big guy.
True.
Same with when you think of the Packers, you immediately think of Jordy Nelson. You just think of the bigger, more dominant players in the field.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'm trying to think of a team that does lift off their speed back or their speed wide receiver. So yeah, that's a
Seattle.
Solid point. Tyler Lockett is not the main man though. It's what's the other?
I would say they all.
We lost
Lockett, Richardson, Baldwin, and Curse.
Yeah, Baldwin. Baldwin seems to be their go-to guy. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, it's 549 Nation. Deshaun Watson went through way more competition than Trubisky. You guys, Teran, what's your opinion on Trubisky versus Deshaun Watson? Because the thing is, I have figured that they must be the NFL and whatever agencies that are promoting draft night. I think it still continues to be Trubisky versus Watson as which one's going to go first, right? I mean, do you agree with that, or what are you feeling?
No, I don't. I mean, if I'm picking a quarterback in the top 10, it's going to be Deshaun Watson. That's just my my preference. Mitch Trubisky, I mean, I probably wouldn't pick him in the top 20. I think Deshaun Watson
Ooh, top
has
20.
the ability to be a good quarterback. Will probably sit in a year or two. I don't think he will start right away, but I think Watson is by far the better prospect at quarterback.
He is your number one quarterback in this draft.
For sure.
All right. Michael, your feeling on that.
I'm not. I know I'm gonna take a lot of hate for this. Watson's a great player, but I think he's gonna become a lesser Jameis Winston in the league. After what the one thing he has going for him that totally gives him lots of edge is his natural competitive instinct in his clutch. He's like crazy in the clutch. But if you watch actual like game by game film, his reads go Mike Williams. Okay, Mike's covered. And then if there's no one else, he just runs. He doesn't go through his reads properly. He goes, okay, Mike's my main guy. If he's open, he throws it. He had like the only reason he scored, their offense was so dominant, but he also threw so many picks. His decision making is somewhat okay, but his main guy, he throws it to Mike, and if Mike's not open, his automatic thing is scramble.
There's a good trivia question. Who is the opposite wide receiver to Mike Williams on the Clemson team? I really, you know what? Because I didn't follow college football that deeply. Who is opposite Mike Williams on that field?
And see, I'm going to go back with Matt. What's your name, bro? I'm sorry.
Mike. His name is Mike. Michael.
Mike. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot the guy's name, but he's a white guy. I think what is his name? He's a white guy, and I disagree with you saying that he always throws to Mike Williams because that white guy had like two touchdowns in the national championship game. So he looks.
But Terrence,
pretty.
You forgot
well.
his name. You forgot the other wide receiver's name. That's kind of a bad sign. So I mean, he doesn't get hit very often then.
No, he gets hit pretty often. I think his last name is Renfro.
Oh! Renfro was an ass kicker last year. I'd forgotten about him.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I wanted him in the draft last year. They said wasn't he a freshman? He's a sophomore now, isn't he?
I don't know what he is, but yeah, he gets his targets too. So, I mean, Mike Williams, yeah, of course he's the main guy, but Renfro gets his targets too, and he had 2 touchdowns in a national championship game. So he had the game winner.
No, I do remember Renfro, and just because the fact that I haven't seen him all year, I'd forgotten all about how good he is. I don't think he's going to.
And he had the game winner, remember?
Though. Yeah, he didn't declare though, did he? He's going to go back to school
one
more year.
He went back.
Yeah, he's going to probably play another year.
Yeah. All right. Now, let's see. So Reuben Foster's a nice pick, but I don't think we'll draft him. It's between a lineman or a wide receiver. Guys, you know what? I see another question I like better, guys. Jordan Perrin, should we take Jamal Adams at number 2 instead? Because this has been coming up in conversations every Sunday. We've got several advocates of give me Jamal Adams at the number 2 pick, and I keep saying, you guys can take a safety at number 2? Can you justify that argument, Teran?
Yeah, if I didn't make that trade with Carolina, I would definitely. I think Fournette. I mean, of course, if Myles Garrett is there, I'm taking him. But if I'm there at number 2, Fournette and Jamal Adams would probably be the only 2 guys I would consider because I feel like they're playmakers, they're safe. I know it kind of a head scratcher thinking, man, you take a safety number 2, but he's a different safety. I me's got the Earl Thomases of the world, the Eric Berrys are changing the game. And I want to say Eric Berry went top 3 the year he came out. He was 3rd overall pick, I believe.
I've heard that comparison before. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so if you can get a game changer like that can play free and strong, but I think Fournette would have to be number 2 if I were to stay there. But those are the only 2 guys because I think the way I have it ranked is Myles Garrett, Leonard Fournette, and Jamal Adams is my 3rd best prospect. So out of everybody,
my own question here is Malik Hooker. I like Malik Hooker because we're playing the 4-3. Since we're playing the 43, I need a guy who can laser in on the ball and get there at the same time. That ball needs to get there to the receiver. I need my defender to get there at the same time. But everybody says Malik Hooker is weak when it comes to big. I mean,
he can't tackle.
I thought if you play that position, you should be like a cannonball, man. But they say he sucks. Is that true?
I would take Jamal easily over Malik. I know that a lot of people are going to probably hate on that, but if you look at Jamal Adams, just footage in general, if you watch play by play, he is always on the ball. My best comparison I would make to him that I'm probably gonna is way overblown, but is pretty accurate to me, is Sean Taylor.
Ooh.
He plays with, first of all, he can lay the wood like a crazy person. He's a big old safety. If you need to, you can put him in the center of the field deep, and he can cover it. He has enough speed to do that.
Yeah.
He flies wherever the ball is. He can play down the box. He's a Cam Chancellor if he was a little faster, in my opinion.
So you would, and Michael, you would possibly entertain the thought of pulling a Jamal Williams with a number 2 pick.
Jamal Adams, second overall, I could totally see it
I'm
happening.
getting names mixed up. Sorry, Jamal Adams. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and finish that.
Yeah, second overall, I can tell, because we definitely need a safety. I think Eric, as much as I love him, he has maybe 2 or 3 years left with all the injury. Last year, he was contemplating retirement over concussion, so he's already playing cautious.
You think that was true then? It wasn't just a rumor that he was thinking about retiring last year, because he came back and said, "I never said that."
No, that was a report last year. Like it was like right before camp, or right after free agency. So like those big trades that went through were still going on.
Yeah.
But low key, he was like talking about maybe retirement because he had like 9 concussions or whatever since he's been playing for us or whatever.
Guys, here's a question I've been waiting for. And the only reason I didn't ask it myself is because I couldn't remember the guy's name, and I'm gonna give it a shot. Eric Wayne wants to know: would we take Obi Malawanfu with that number 2 pick? Would anybody? Teran, would you run that risk? He's big. He's the prototype of maybe 2020. No. 2025. This freak is way ahead. He's like evolved. If we're talking Neanderthals, that's what we got now. In 2025, we have Obi here. Guys, what is your feeling on that? Teran?
You asked me if I would take a number 2 overall?
Yeah.
Not even close.
Go ahead.
These workout warriors don't mean nothing to me. I like football players.
Yeah.
And I went back after he had his combine workout, and I looked at some of his tape, and he's kind of one of those guys that waits to come when when everybody's already made the tackle.
Yeah.
He comes in late and kind of hits people. So no, he's probably worth a flyer in the second round, but I would definitely not take him second overall. No, I want a football player in Jamal Adams before I took him.
Answer that question. Michael, what are your feelings on Obi?
I'm same. Obi's he's a big guy. He's an athletic freak, but if you look at film, it doesn't translate to his combine. Like what he can do, he doesn't do on the field. It's limited, and I wouldn't draft him second.
Eric Wayne wants to know: would anybody draft? Would anybody draft Cepho Liafau? Cepho Liafau. Well, that's a tough one. Quarterback from Colorado in the late round. You know what? He's got a fan following. This is not the first time I heard this. I saw him quarterback and I says, okay. But I wasn't blown away. What were you guys' reactions on him? Teran?
I wouldn't. Well, I mean, 7th round if he's there, I'll take a flyer on him. That's if we don't take somebody. That's if we don't take nobody in the 5th or 6th round. But he's probably one of those guys that will be there in the 7th round. So he's draftable, but he'd be last round option for me.
Mike, are you gonna give Cepho a break on that? You would wait till the 7th as well?
I wouldn't wait until the 7th because I don't know. It all depends. Like his performance this year was pretty average. I'd say he's average for a college quarterback this year. He has a lot of tangibles to be good. Also, I'm not the one to be judging this either, though. I think Kyle will know what he's doing. He's going to get the quarterback he wants, but I'm not leaning towards him at all. I'd say, if anything, I'd probably say end of the 6th, maybe even going to the 7th. Yeah.
All right. Now, Sohail Rad's got another questions or your thoughts on Kamara. And the other day I saw Kamara, and I thought somebody was trying to talk about karma. Who is Kamara? Teran.
He's a great running back. I mean, obviously, he might slip into the 1st round.
Ooh.
And to Alvin Kamara from Tennessee, yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, he's a slower Jamal Charles, kind of a do-it-all back. He can, catch out of the backfield. Mm-hmm. He's real shifty. He's good. He won't fall past the 2nd round, in my opinion.
Michael, your feeling on that, and also, guys, I want to double up on that because I noticed Nobody's saying anything. Well, we had a McCaffrey sighting last week, but what do you think about Christian? And go ahead, but hit the Kamara question first, Michael.
All right, so Kamara, what I know about him, I knew about him when he was a rookie. He was the first guy, one of the first guys I noticed. He was actually recruited by Alabama. Him and Derrick Henry were both at Alabama his freshman year. I believe it was him.
All right.
What he had was a fumbling. He's a fumbling problem.
Uh-oh.
He started fumbling. They wanted him to be second string so he could grow, and they started Derrick. And Kamara said, "No, I want to start. I'm a freak. I don't need to sit." And so he left for Tennessee. Then what confirmed his fumbling for me was when Tennessee played A&M. I think it was I think it was last year, and he had like 2 or 3 fumbles, and they would have been leading by at least 14. But if they hadn't dropped the ball so many times,
God,
I don't think he's a great athlete and he can run when he's not dropping the ball. He has a serious fumbling problem. If he could get that handled, I think he can be a great running back.
And then on that note, Michael, and you can hang on, Michael. Christian McCaffrey, and I think he ideally would fit in Kyle Shanahan's system because of all his diversity out there. What are your feelings on that?
Well, for Christian, I love Christian. I don't know how he didn't win the Heisman. Derrick, in my opinion, shouldn't have won the Heisman that year. I think Henry was great, but I think McCaffrey played a way better season overall than Derrick Henry.
All right.
When you're not running against when you don't have the best offensive line in the nation, and you're at Stanford, and you still seem to hold one of the most yards for the college. He's a freak. He's so agile. He's got great quickness. His vision is insane, and he can do anything. You could literally, if he started like, okay, we don't want to put you at running back anymore, he could wide up in the slot like a Julian Edelman type player. He can do, I think, anything on the field for offensively.
Can you imagine? You got McCaffrey and you got Juice. Now you got these options. I mean, your wide receivers are killing you. Kyle Shanahan knows how to play the chess game on the field. God, Teran, what are your feelings on Christian?
Oh, I totally agree with what he said. I think, to me, he's the second best running back in his class. I think he's better than Dalvin Cook. And I was kind of hoping that we made that trade for Kirk Cousins, because if we would have swapped first picks, I would wanted them to take Christian McCaffrey at 17. I think he's that good.
Yeah,
I think taking him at 17 would have been dynamic. I mean, the offenses would have been nasty with him at number 17. Just like Mike said, I mean, he can do it all. I mean, punt return, kickoff return, running back, slot receiver. I mean, he's like John Lynch said in the press conference, an OW, offensive weapon, and that's exactly what he is.
Oh, don't you love that? His name went from Juice to O-Dub. What do we don't even know what to call him anymore. We're gonna call him Juice or O-Dub. Here's a question about Allen doing only 21 reps. Now, they're saying, Jonathan Allen says, my shoulders are fine during the season, and the doctors are telling me that I'll have my problems probably after I finish my football career. But Jonathan Allen is a monster. He can only do 21 reps. Is that a red flag?
Oh, no, it's not a red flag at all. If you watch film, he never had any problem with his shoulder in game scenarios. If so, he'd always come back and play with it. Right. The bench thing, I think, is more of a, okay, I'm not trying to hurt. Everybody knows how great of a player I am. The combine is just confirming that.
All right.
I think the bench thing was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to try to push it because I already don't want to get hurt. Just trying to show people I'm one of the best.
Oh, doing 30 and 40 reps, which means unnecessary stress on his shoulders. Teran, what do you feel about Jonathan, man? Is he going to be okay?
No, I don't think you have to worry about anything. I think he's an elite athlete, an elite football player. He'll be a top 10 pick, and I don't think anybody should worry picking him that early. And to me, I think sometimes that bench press stuff is overrated. I mean, I think they looked at some of a couple days ago, they were showing running backs, top bench press running backs, and like 3 of them are out of the league. So to me, that doesn't really matter. I want a football player.
I bet you the football is
that's how I see it.
And you know what I worry about? Because the fact is, now, Jonathan Allen, do you guys realize we didn't go after Dontari Poe? We didn't go after Williams out of Baltimore. I do think.
Ronbo, has Poe signed anywhere yet?
No,
No, he hasn't.
and
He hasn't.
Dontari is asking for maybe outrageous money or something. But I said, the 49ers didn't even attempt to get Dontari, and they didn't go after Williams. Could there be a plan for another big man coming out of the draft? And wouldn't Wilson, or not Wilson, but wouldn't Jonathan Allen, wouldn't he make sense? It's just me throwing that around because with the kind of 4-3, when we run the 43, you don't need that big glob in the middle. You need strong and fast. Man, Allen fits even better than Poe when I think about it. You're feeling on that, Teran.
I mean, if we get him, great, but I don't think we'll need him or anybody in the draft that early. I think, we have Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner. They're gonna fill that spot nicely inside. I think both of them, like you said, 4-3. You need more speed and quickness, and they both have that. I mean, I think we'll be fine. Plus, we got what's the guy's name from Miami? We just signed. Can't think of his name. Earl Mitchell.
Defensive tackles.
We still got Quentin Dial. So we got some depth at D tackle. So I think that's the last of our problems right now.
What's that guy last year? We picked him up at the end of the season after Eric Armstead went down out of Miami. Oh, what's that guy? I enjoyed him.
Oh.
But I don't know if they let him walk.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Because I don't know that if he had a more than a 1-year contract. But I thought he did a great job last year, and he'd also be good. That kind of guy that you just can't push around. These are the guys. But again, we need guys that are quick. But on that run, guys, I do not want to see that run abuse again in my lifetime coming out of San Francisco. That's why I'm still I'm still 34 thinking, but we're in the 43, so it may not be as necessary. So, all right. Well, guys, tell you what we're going to do. Now, what you can do is you can go over and vote at the app for both of our. But remember, we did have a few difficulties, so try to not take those seriously, technical difficulties. But otherwise, go ahead and give them a vote at the Ronbo Sports app and tell us who you like and leave notes or anything else you want to do. All right, guys. Listen, I tell you what, I want to thank you for today. That was awesome and fun. And hold on a second. I got. Oh yeah. Let me say just a couple more things though, because guys, are you ready for the scream? I heard that the kids are still awake at Teran's house.
Oh.
And with Michael,
sure.
Michael's in his room, and that room seems like a very large room, so the sound quality should not drift outside of that room. Like I have a right to make that call. But anyway, tomorrow it will be the fan gathering as usual, 7 p.m. We'll always get together, and there's so many things to talk about as far as free agency and the draft and everything else. It should be a good time. 7 p.m. We'll join you then. But for now, guys, I want to thank you for joining us today. Great job. I'm going to count to 1 and 3, and we're going to give the scream. 1.
Hey, Ronbo.
Yeah.
Ronbo.
Yeah.
1 second. My wife is asleep, so I'm not going to be doing that loud. She has to be at work at 4 in the morning, so I can't be screaming like that.
My bad. Don't do it. Listen, I'll do it for you. All right?
There you go.
And Mike, if you want to join me, man, I'm going to holler, man. 3,
I got you.
2, 1. Niners!
Niners!
Nice.